The UK is going through a quiet revolution in smart cities, and I have with me Mark Collins of CityFibre, a man very much behind it. Mark, you gave a presentation at the Next Gen National Conference here in Derby where you were talking about up to 25 cities in the UK alone that you're going to be helped turning into smart cities.
Yeah, we very much call those projects our gigabit cities. It's a very, very straightforward model. It's a deployment of a new fit-for-purpose modern fibre optic infrastructure to everything, where everybody in that city can connect to, almost unlimited speed kind of broadband. Whilst we talk about gigabit, obviously the infrastructure itself is capable of much greater than that. But to homes, to businesses, to the public sector, to mobile operators, to bring that connectivity and power, a technology revolution within those environments.
Yeah, because gigabit is very much a key word in enabling these new words we're all hearing all the time, M2M, Internet of Things. You can't have that without the infrastructure, can you?
I think if you think about it in terms of the uses of the internet, and machine to machine is a very good example of that, the Internet of Things, but even the amount of data we consume now on our smartphones, in our homes, in businesses, the move to cloud computing, that's having this exponential growth in data. And obviously the reality of that is it needs to be supported on an infrastructure capable of transmitting and transporting that data around. And in a world and a society where we talk about open data and big data, it's ever more important that infrastructure is capable of doing those things.
So how does CityFibre operate? How do you go into a city like, I think you're working in Peterborough, York, some other cities? How do you actually go in and operate?
Yeah, so we put an investment into the city, which is a private sector investment. We work very collaboratively with the local authority itself. So we're putting an investment into their city. So we want to do that collaboration with the city council. But we see the benefits of bringing schools, for example, up to gigabit connectivity for the better delivery of public services. So the city itself becomes one of the real key stakeholders. But when we look at it into the broader, community in those cities, to the businesses, to the citizens, the residents, and so on, we then work with the service providers. As an infrastructure provider, we enable the service provider community. That can be the business ISPs, public sector ISPs, the mobile operators, and even the consumer ISPs like Sky and TalkTalk, and our joint venture with Sky and TalkTalk, to roll out better services in our infrastructure to provide that. So it's very much an ecosystem of collaboration with local authority and the business and the ISPs within the cities that we work in.
And then I think having achieved all that, which is no mean feat in its own right, you then help you maintain the running of that network, you stay with it in the long term.
We do. We very much believe in a model of a supply and operation of shared passive infrastructure, so shared dark fibre, and making that dark fibre available to all of the uses and the innovations that can come if you give that dark fibre to the various ISP communities. And as we roll out our gigabit city model into those 25 cities, and ideally 25 cities is just almost like a medium-term aspiration. We'd like it to go much further than that with the support of the industry. But we roll it out, that infrastructure, and we maintain that infrastructure so the service providers can just continue to come on board our networks, support us in that rollout on a nationwide basis, but they don't have to worry about the physical build of the infrastructure, the funding of that infrastructure. They just have a better, modern, fit-for-purpose digital infrastructure they can use.
And I think you were saying the payback can actually be a bit quicker than people might think.
It comes down to all the money and the revenues to do this. It exists within the industry today. If we take the majority of the service provider community, mobile operators and so on, are renting their connectivity from the incumbent suppliers, mostly from BT Openreach. But if you look at the revenue flows from that, if you divert some of those revenue flows to a new modern infrastructure, what we would consider as a much more efficient investment vehicle, then actually you can optimize those paybacks to be less than 10 years. Because again, we're working with, take our example of our project in York where we're rolling out with Sky and TalkTalk, 40% of the consumer market is with those two suppliers. So we're not starting from a base of zero, we're starting from an established revenue model, an established opportunity, but encouraging that ecosystem to shift their spending onto a new, more efficient infrastructure. And that model can then get sub-10-year paybacks, the investors are happy, and the opportunity then to roll that out on scale throughout the UK, hence the 25-city program that we have.
Fantastic. Just tell us a bit about the background to the company.
Well, yeah, so CityFibre now has been in operation for about 4 years. We are a team of very kind of experienced kind of management and that understands the delivery of physical infrastructure, the building of infrastructure, and the financing of that infrastructure. We have now, as a management team, done a number of successful projects in different parts of Europe, and if you take the kind of combined expertise in that, it's quite substantial. And really, we're looking to say, well, what's the next logical step that the UK infrastructure has to go through? It has to be modernised. We can't rely on the legacy copper infrastructure forever. Data growth is growing. So it needs just a combination of the right skills and expertise, the right capital sources to come together with the service providers in the industry. And what CityFibre's team is about, and the background that we have, that we bring to the table, is the track record of enabling that to happen, working with our investor base, working with the industry to achieve this kind of great outcome for the UK.
Well, it sounds like great news for Britain's city infrastructure. Thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you.